For years, fans have been anticipating the return of Jack of Blades. He remains the most terrifying antagonist in Fable history, an otherworldly entity who once ruled Albion, survived his own physical destruction by tethering his soul to a mask, and was ultimately thought to be destroyed forever. However, Playground Games presented his reveal with deliberate ambiguity. They introduced Jack alongside another major character, Isabel, framing both as dark forces the heroes will have to contend with. Crucially, the developers held back on Jack's specific motives, stating that they're eager for players to discover his exact role in this reimagined Albion on their own. This careful phrasing suggests Jack's presence goes well beyond acting as a standard final boss. If Playground is pulling from the original Fable mythology, while completely rebuilding the timeline, Jack could serve as the central anchor for the entire narrative. Let's talk about his origin, his fate in the original games, the new Fable confirmations, and the massive twist potentially hiding behind his return. To understand this theory, we have to look at Jack's roots. Jack of Blades originated as a non-human entity, one of three ancient beings forming the court alongside the Knight and Queen of Blades. They hailed from the Void, a completely separate realm distinct from Albion. The court arrived long before the events of the first Fable, demanding absolute worship from humanity. To force submission, they utilized cosmic devastation. They burned the land. They raised the sea and flooded the world. They twisted human minds into complete insanity till Albion finally surrendered. The core of Jack's lore revolves around this ancient supernatural domination. By preserving this origin, Playground has the opportunity to elevate Jack beyond a traditional conqueror and tap into the cosmic horror aspect of his character. Long before the hero of Oakvale existed, William Black, the first Archon, confronted the court. He defeated the Knight and destroyed Jack's physical body. Jack, however, successfully transferred his spirit into his mask. This artifact became his gateway, allowing him to possess other hosts to interact with the physical world. Jack's true identity, consciousness, and power are intrinsically tied to his mask, rather than a fixed physical form. This specific piece of lore grants Playground incredible narrative freedom for his reintroduction. In the original game, Jack utilizes a human host to manipulate characters and seek the Sword of Eons. After his dragon form is eventually defeated, his soul retreats back to the mask, presenting the hero with a final choice: destroy the artifact or wear it. The mask actively tempts the player with promises of immortality and absolute power. Jack's ultimate weapon is his insidious influence. His primary goal is always to consume and replace the hero entirely. Jack has a dark, documented obsession with Albion's hero bloodlines. He targeted Scarlet Robe's family specifically for their Archeon lineage, attacking Oakvale, killing Brom, capturing Scarlet Robe, and blinding Teresa. His fixation lies in the unique potential and latent magic carried within hero blood. This brings us to a crucial detail Playground has confirmed for the new Fable. The player character is the first hero to appear in an entire generation. The simultaneous return of Jack of Blades and the emergence of a new hero after such a long magical drought feels entirely deliberate. The new game begins with the protagonist as a child discovering their powers. Following a time jump, the adult hero's village, BRIAR Hill, suffers a devastating attack where the residents, including the hero's grandmother, are turned to stone by a mysterious stranger. We now have a massive convergence of events occurring simultaneously in this new Albion: a devastating village-wide supernatural attack, the end of a generational drought of heroes, the confirmed presence of Jack of Blades. The awakening of the new hero and Jack's return are highly likely to be directly intertwined events. Predicting Jack's exact path is difficult because Playground is treating this game as a fresh start, explicitly detached from the strict continuity of the original trilogy. We have to deduce which elements of Jack's lore they value most. They visibly retained his mask, his physical design, and his core persona. By deliberately placing him in this rebuilt Albion, while keeping his current motives completely hidden, Playground is setting the stage for a distinct and unpredictable narrative trajectory. My core theory is that Jack of Blades serves as the major driving force behind the story, rather than the final enemy, largely due to the introduction of Isabel, the hero of Wraithmarsh, played by Hayley Atwell. Isabel is described as a haunted hero who has explored dark solutions to Albion's problem. Crucially, she believes Albion doesn't need heroes, It needs her. She fits the classic Fable archetype of an antagonist who genuinely believes in her own righteousness. We're looking at two distinct forces vying for control. Isabel acting out of a twisted sense of salvation, and Jack operating from a historical desire of absolute submission. Isabel and Jack are likely competing rather than allied. Isabel's messianic complex directly conflicts with Jack's requirement for a subjugated realm. They might attempt to use one another, Jack seeing Isabel as a temporary pawn and Isabel foolishly believing she can harness Jack's power for her own ends. In true Fable fashion, any attempt by Isabel to control an ancient entity like Jack will inevitably backfire. We've also got to consider the rest of the Court of Blades. Jack's return could signal the broader re-emergence of the Void into Albion. Retaining Jack's rich cosmic mythology provides Playground with a unique otherworldly threat far beyond standard rival kingdoms. Jack, or his mask, could act as the literal bridge for the Void to invade. Given his biological reliance on possessing hosts, Jack's ultimate goal in this new narrative might be securing the new hero as his permanent vessel to anchor the Void to Albion. The protagonist's status as the sole hero in a generation aligns perfectly with Jack's survival requirements. Jack has been waiting for a suitable, magically potent host to awaken. This shifts the central conflict of the game. Instead of trying to slay the villain, the player must fight to prevent Jack from consuming their identity. Playground could seamlessly integrate this narrative into the returning morality and reputation system throughout the campaign. Jack might offer the player forbidden abilities, hidden knowledge, or perilous shortcuts to save NPCs. Each accepted gift would forge a deeper connection to him. The virtuous hero would struggle to resist these temptations to save others, while a malevolent hero might willingly embrace Jack's power. In this dynamic, Jack views the player's moral alignment as irrelevant. He only evaluates their utility as a host. Jack likely returns in a state of extreme vulnerability, needing the new hero to solidify his existence in Albion. As players explore this new world, they will encounter the returning demon doors. Historically, these sentient doorways act as gatekeepers to Albion's deepest magical secrets. Unlocking them might be the key to understanding the revised history of the court, the Void, and the true nature of Jack's vulnerability in this new timeline. Playground Games is actively obscuring Jack's precise role in this new beginning for a reason. He's positioned as a catalyst and a manipulator, steering the narrative from the shadows. While Isabel fights for control over Albion under the guise of salvation, Jack's motives are far more personal and invasive. He's targeting the newly awakened hero as his ultimate vessel. The grand twist of Fable won't revolve around a final epic battle to kill Jack of Blades. The true horror will be realizing he has been grooming you to become his next physical host from the very beginning. And if Jack has managed to breach the boundary between the Void and Albion, we have to ask, what else followed him through?
But I've only just learned to communicate.